Section 7 of The Dream of the Red Chamber, Book 2. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. The Dream of the Red Chamber, Book 2, by Cao Xueqin. Translated by Henry Bancroft Joly. Chapter 28, Part 1. Jiang Yuhan lovingly presents a rubier-scented silk sash. Xue Baochai blushingly covers her musk-perfumed string of red beads. Lin Daiyu, the story goes, dwelt after Jing Wen's refusal the previous night to open the door, under the impression that the blame lay with Baoyu. The following day, which by another remarkable coincidence happened to correspond with the season when the god of flowers had to be feasted, the total ignorance of the true circumstances and the resentment as yet unspent, aroused again in her despondent thoughts, suggested by the decline of springtime. She consequently gathered a quantity of faded flowers and fallen petals, and went and interred them. Unable to check the emotion caused by the decay of the flowers, she spontaneously recited, after giving way to several loud lamentations, those verses which Baoyu, she little thought, overheard from his position on the mount. At first, he did no more than nod his head and heave sighs, full of feeling, but when subsequently his ear caught, "Here I am fain these flowers to inter, but humankind will laugh me as a fool. Who knows who will, in years to come, commit me to my grave?" In a twinkle, springtime draws to an end, and maidens wax in age. Flowers fade and maidens die, and of either not any more is known. He unconsciously was so overpowered with grief that he threw himself on the mount, bestrewing the whole ground with the fallen flowers he carried in his coat, close to his chest. When Daiyu's flower-like charms and moonlight beauty, he reflected, by and by likewise reach a time when they will vanish beyond any hope of recovery. Won't my heart be lacerated and my feelings be mangled? And extending, since Daiyu must at length some day revert to a state when it will be difficult to find her. This reasoning to other persons, like Baochai, Xiangling, Zheren, and the other girls, they too are equally liable to attain a state beyond the reach of human search. But when Baochai and all the rest have ultimately reached that stage, when no trace will be visible of them, where shall I myself be then? And when my own human form will have vanished and gone, whither I know not yet, to what person, I wonder, will this place, this garden, and these plants revert? From one to a second, and from a second to a third, he thus pursued his reflections, backwards and forwards, until he really did not know how he could best, at this time and at such a juncture, dispel his fit of anguish. His state is adequately described by: the shadow of a flower cannot err from the flower itself to the left or the right. The song of birds can only penetrate into the ear from the east or the west. Lin Daiyu was herself a prey to emotion and agitation, when unawares sorrowful accents also struck her ear from the direction of the mount. "Everyone," she cogitated, "laughs at me for laboring under a foolish mania. But is there likely another fool besides myself?" She then raised her head, and casting a glance about her, she discovered that it was Baoyu. "Cui," eagerly cried Daiyu, "I was wondering who it was. But is it truly this ruthless-hearted and short-lived fellow?" But the moment the two words "short-lived" dropped from her mouth, she sealed her lips, and heaving a deep sigh, she turned herself round and hurriedly walked off. Baoyu, meanwhile, remained for a time a prey to melancholy, but perceiving that Daiyu had retired, He at once realized that she must have caught sight of him and got out of his way, and as his own company afforded him no pleasure, he shook the dust off his clothes, rose to his feet, and, descending the hill, he started for the Yihong court by the path by which he had come. But he espied Daiyu walking in advance of him, and with rapid stride he overtook her. "Stop a little," he cried. "I know you don't care a rap for me, but I will just make one single remark, and from this day forward we'll part company." Daiyu looked round, observing that it was Baoyu. She was about to ignore him, hearing him, however, mention that he had only one thing to say. "Please tell me what it is," she forthwith rejoined. Baoyu smiled at her. "If I pass two remarks, will you listen to me? Yes or no?" he asked. At these words, Daiyu twisted herself around and beat a retreat. Baoyu, however, followed behind. "Since this is what we've come to now," he signed, "what was the use of what existed between us in days gone by?" As soon as Daiyu heard his exclamation, she stopped short impulsively, turning her face towards him. "What about days gone by?" she remarked. "And what about now?" "Aye," ejaculated Baoyu. "When you got here in days gone by, wasn't I your playmate in all your romps and in all your fun? My heart may have been set upon anything, but if you wanted it you could take it away at once. I may have been fond of any eatable, but if I came to learn that you too fancied it, I there and then put away what could be put away, in a clean place, to wait, miss, for your return. We had our meals at one table, we slept in one and the same bed. Whatever the servant girls could not remember, I reminded them of, for fear lest your temper, miss, should get ruffled. I flattered myself that cousins, who have grown up together from their infancy, as you and I have, would have continued, through intimacy or friendship, either would have done in peace and harmony until the end, so as to make it palpable that we are above the rest. But contrary to all my expectations, now that you, miss, have developed in body as well as in mind, you don't take the least heed of me. You lay hold instead of some cousin Bao or cousin Feng or other from here, there, and everywhere, and give them a place in your affections, while on the contrary you disregard me for 3 days at a stretch, and decline to see anything of me for 4. I have besides no brother or sister of the same mother as myself. It's true there are a couple of them, but these, are you not forsooth aware, are by another mother. You and I are only children, so I ventured to hope that you would have reciprocated my feelings. But who'd have thought it? I've simply thrown away this heart of mine, and here I am with plenty of woes to bear, but with nowhere to go and utter them. While expressing these sentiments, tears unexpectedly trickled from his eyes. When Lin Daiyu caught with her ears his protestations and noticed with her eyes his state of mind, she unconsciously experienced an inward pang, and much against her will tears too besprinkled her cheeks. So, drooping her head, she kept silent. Her manner did not escape Baoyu's notice. "I myself am aware," he speedily resumed, "that I am worth nothing now. But however imperfect I may be, I could on no account presume to become guilty of any shortcoming with you, cousin. Were I to ever commit the slightest fault, your task should be either to tender me advice and warn me not to do it again, or to blow me up a little, or give me a few whacks. And all this reproof I wouldn't take amiss. But no one would have ever anticipated that you wouldn't bother your head in the least about me, and that you would be the means of driving me to my wits' ends, and so much out of my mind and off my head, as to be quite at a loss how to act for the best. In fact, were death to come upon me, I would be a spirit driven to my grave by grievances. However much exalted bonzes and eminent powers priests might do penance, they wouldn't succeed in releasing my soul from suffering. For it would still be needful for you to clearly explain the facts, so that I might at last be able to come to life. After lending him a patient ear, Daiyu suddenly banished from her memory all recollection of the occurrences of the previous night. Well, in that case, she said, why did you not let a servant girl open the door when I came over? This question took Baoyu by surprise. What prompts you to say this? He exclaimed. If I have done anything of the kind, may I die at once. Zhe, cried Daiyu. It's not right that you should recklessly broach the subject of living or dying at this early morn. If you say yea, it's yea, and nay is nay. What use is there to utter such oaths? I didn't really see you come over, protested Baoyu. Cousin Baochai it was, who came and sat for a while and then left. After some reflection, Lin Daiyu smiled. Yes, she observed. Your servant girls must, I fancy, have been too lazy to budge, grumpy and in a cross-grained mood. This is probable enough. This is, I feel sure, the reason, answered Baoyu. So when I go back, I'll find out who it was, call them to task, and put things right. Those girls of yours, continued Daiyu, should be given a lesson, but, properly speaking, it isn't for me to mention anything about it. Their present insult to me is a mere trifle. But were tomorrow some Miss Bao, that is precious, or some Miss Bei, that is jewel, order to come, and were she to be subjected to insult, won't it be a grave matter? While she taunted him, she pressed her lips and laughed sarcastically. Baoyu heard her remarks and felt both disposed to gnash his teeth with rage and to treat them as a joke. But in the midst of their colloquy, they perceived a waiting maid approach and invite them to have their meal. Presently, the whole body of inmates crossed over to the front. Miss, inquired Madame Wang at the sight of Daiyu, have you taken any of Dr. Bao's medicines? Do you feel any better? I simply feel so-so, replied Lin Daiyu, but Grandmother Jia recommended me to go on taking Dr. Wang's medicines. Mother, Baoyu interposed, you've no idea that Cousin Lin's is an internal derangement. It's because she was born with a delicate physique that she can't stand the slightest cold. All she need do is to take a couple of doses of some decoction to dispel the chill. Yet it's preferable that she should have medicine in pills. The other day, said Madame Wang, the doctor mentioned the name of some pills, but I've forgotten what it is. I know something about pills, put in Baoyu. He merely told her to take some pills or other called ginseng as a restorative of the system. That isn't it? Madame Wang demurred. The egg precious wholesome to mother pills, Baoyu proceeded, or the left angelica or right angelica, if these also aren't the ones, they must be the egg flavor Raminia glutinosa pills. None of these, rejoined Madame Wang, for I remember well that there were the two words Jin Gan, that is, guardians in Buddhistic temples. I've never before, observed Baoyu, clapping his hands, heard of the existence of Jin Gan pills. But in the event of there being any Jin Gan pills, there must, for a certainty, be such a thing as Busa, that is, Buddha, powder. At this joke, everyone in the whole room burst out laughing. Baochai compressed her lips and gave a smile. It must, I'm inclined to think, she suggested, be the Lord of Heaven strengthen the heart pills. Yes, that's the name, Madame Wang laughed. Why? Now I too have become muddle-headed. You're not muddle-headed, mother, said Baoyu. It's the mention of Jin Gan and Buddhas which confused you. Stuff and nonsense, ejaculated Madame Wang. What you want again is your father to whip you? My father, Baoyu laughed, wouldn't whip me for a thing like this. Well, this being their name, resumed Madame Wang, you had better tell someone tomorrow to buy you a few. All these drugs, expostulated Baoyu, are of no earthly use. Were you, mother, to give me 360 taels, I will concoct a supply of pills for my cousin, which I can certify will make her feel quite herself again before she has finished a single supply. What trash, cried Madame Wang. What kind of medicine is there so costly? It's a positive fact, smiled Baoyu. This prescription of mine is unlike all others. Besides, the very names of those drugs are quaint, and couldn't be enumerated in a moment. Suffice it to mention the placenta of the first child, 360 ginseng roots, shaped like human beings and studded with leaves, 4 fat tortoises, full-grown Polygonum multiforum, the core of the Pachyma cocos, found on the roots of a fir tree of 1,000 years old, and other such species of medicines. They are not, I admit, out-of-the-way things, but they are the most excellent among that whole crowd of medicines. And were I to begin to give you a list of them, why, they take you all quite aback. The year before last, I at length let Xue Baochai have this recipe. After he had made ever so many entreaties during 1 or 2 years, when, however, he got the prescription, he had to search for another 2 or 3 years, and to spend over and above 1,000 taels before he succeeded in having it prepared. If you don't believe me, mother, you are at liberty to ask cousin Baochai about it. At the mention of her name, Baochai laughingly waved her hand. I know nothing about it, she observed, nor have I heard anything about it. So don't tell your mother to ask me any questions. Really, said Madame Wang, smiling. Baochai is a good girl. She does not tell lies. Baoyu was standing in the center of the room. Upon hearing these words, he turned round sharply and clapped his hands. What I stated just now, he explained, was the truth, yet you maintain that it was all lies. As he defended himself, he casually looked round and caught sight of Lin Daiyu at the back of Baochai laughing with tight-set lips, and applying her fingers to her face to put him to shame. But Lady Feng, who had been in the inner rooms overseeing the servants laying the table, came out at once, as soon as she overheard the conversation. Brother Bao tells no lies, she smilingly chimed in. This is really a fact. Some time ago, cousin Xue Baochai came over in person and asked me for pearls, and when I inquired of him what he wanted them for, he explained that they were intended to compound some medicine with, adding in an aggrieved way that it would have been better hadn't he taken it in hand, for he never had any idea that it would involve such a lot of trouble. When I questioned him what the medicine was, he returned for answer that it was a prescription of Brother Bao's, and he mentioned ever so many ingredients which I don't even remember. Under other circumstances, he went on to say, I would have purchased a few pearls, but what I absolutely wanted are such pearls as have been worn on the head, and that's why I come to ask you, cousin, for some. If, cousin, you've got no broken ornaments at hand, in the shape of flowers, why, those that you have on your head will do as well, and by I'll choose a few good ones and give them to you, to wear. I had no other course, therefore, than to snap a couple of twigs from some flowers I have, made of pearls, and to let him take them away. One also requires a piece of deep red gauze, 3 feet in length of the best quality, and the pearls must be triturated to powder in a mortar. After each sentence expressed by Lady Feng, Baoyu muttered an invocation to Buddha. The thing is as clear as sunlight now, he remarked. The moment Lady Feng had done speaking, Baoyu put in his word. Mother, he added, you should know that this is a mere makeshift, for really, according to the letter of the prescription, These pearls and precious stones should, probably speaking, consist of such as had been obtained from some old grave, and been worn as head ornaments by some wealthy and honorable person of bygone days. But how could one go now on this account and dig up graves, and open tombs? Hence it is that such as are simply in use among living persons can equally well be substituted. "Abidorfor," exclaimed Madame Wang, after listening to him throughout. "That will never do. And what an arduous job to uselessly settle one's self with, for even though there be interred in some graves people who've been dead for several hundreds of years, it wouldn't be a propitious thing were their corpses turned topsy-turvy now, and the bones abstracted, just for the sake of preparing some medicine or other." Pao Yu thereupon addressed himself to Daiyu. "Have you heard what was said or not?" he asked. "And is there, pray, any likelihood that Cousin Secunda would also follow in my lead and tell lies?" While saying this, his eyes were, or bet his face was turned towards Lin Daiyu, fixed upon Baochai. Lin Daiyu pulled Madame Wang. "You just listen to him, aunt," she observed. "All because Cousin Baochai would not accommodate him by lying. He appeals to me." "Pao Yu has a great knack," Madame Wang said, "of dealing contemptuously with you, his cousin." "Mother," Pao Yu smilingly protested, "you are not aware how the case stands. When Cousin Baochai lived at home, she knew nothing whatever about my elder cousin Xue Peng's affairs. And how much less now that she has taken up her quarters inside the garden. She, of course, knows less than ever about them. Yet Cousin Lin just now stealthily treated my statements as lies, and put me to the blush." These words were still on his lips when they perceived a waiting maid from Dowager Lady Jia's apartments come in quest of Pao Yu and Lin Daiyu to go and have their meal. Lin Daiyu, however, did not even call Pao Yu, but forthwith, rising to her feet, she went along, dragging the waiting maid by the hand. "Let's wait for Master Secundus, Mr. Bao, to go along with us," demurred the girl. "He doesn't want anything to eat," Lin Daiyu replied. "He won't come with us, so I will go ahead." So saying, she promptly left the room. "I'll have my repast with my mother today," Pao Yu said. "Not at all," Madame Wang remarked. "Not at all. I'm going to fast today, so it's only right and proper that you should go and have your own." "I'll also fast with you then," Pao Yu retorted. As he spoke, he called out to the servant to go back, and rushing up to the table, he took a seat. Madame Wang faced Baochai and her companions. "You girls," she observed, "had better have your meal, and let him have his own way." "It's only right that you should go," Baochai smiled. "Whether you have anything to eat or not, you should go over for a while to keep company to Cousin Lin, as she will be quite distressed and out of spirits." "Who cares about her?" Pao Yu rejoined. "She'll get all right again after a time." Shortly, they finished their repast, but Pao Yu apprehended, in the first place, that his grandmother Jia would be solicitous on his account, and longed in the second to be with Lin Daiyu, so he hurriedly asked for some tea to rinse his mouth with. Cousin Secundus, Tan Chen, and Si Chun interposed, with an ironic laugh. "What's the use of the hurry-scurry you are in the whole day long? Even when you are having your meals or your tea, you are in this sort of fussy helter-skelter. Make him hurry up and have his tea," Baochai chimed in smiling, "so that he may go and look up his cousin Lin. He'll be up to all kinds of mischief if you keep him here." Pao Yu drank his tea, then hastily leaving the apartment, he proceeded straightway towards the eastern court. As luck would have it, the moment he got near Lady Feng's cot, he descried Lady Feng standing at the gateway. While standing on the step and picking her teeth with an ear cleaner, she superintended about 10 young servant boys removing the flower pots from place to place. As soon as she caught sight of Baoyu approaching, she put on a smiling face. "You come quite opportunely," she said. Walk in, and write a few characters for me." Baoyu had no option but to follow her in. When they reached the interior of her rooms, Lady Feng gave orders to a servant to fetch a pen, inkslab, and paper. 40 rows of deep red ornamented satin, she began, addressing herself to Baoyu. 40 rows of satin with dragons. 100 rows of gauzes of every color, of the finest quality. 4 gold necklaces. "What's this?" Baoyu shouted. "It is neither a bill nor is it a list of presents, and in what style shall I write it?" Lady Feng remonstrated with him. "Just you go on writing," she said, "for in fact, as long as I can make out what it means, is all that is needed." Baoyu at this response felt constrained to proceed with the writing. This over, Lady Feng put the paper by. "As she did so, I've still something more to tell you," she smilingly pursued, "but I wonder whether you will accede to it or not. There is in your rooms a servant maid, Xiao Hong by name, whom I would like to bring over into my service, and I will select several girls tomorrow to wait on you. Will this do?" "The servants in my quarters," answered Baoyu, "muster a large crowd, so that, cousin, you are at perfect liberty to send for any one of them who may take your fancy. What's the need, therefore, of asking me about it?" "If that be so," continued Lady Feng laughingly, "I'll tell someone at once to go and bring her over." "Yes, she can go and fetch her," acquiesced Baoyu. While replying, he made an attempt to take his leave. "Come back," shouted Lady Feng. "I've got something more to tell you." "Our venerable senior has sent for me," Baoyu rejoined. "If you have anything to tell me, you must wait till my return." After this explanation, he there and then came over to his grandmother Jia's on this side, where he found that they had already got through their meal. "Have you had anything nice to eat with your mother?" old Lady Jia asked. "There was really nothing nice," Baoyu smiled. "Yet I managed to have a bowl of rice more than usual." "Where's Cousin Lin?" he then inquired. "She's in the inner rooms," answered his grandmother. Baoyu stepped in. He caught sight of a waiting maid standing below, blowing into an iron, and 2 servant girls seated on the stove couch, making a chalk line. Daiyu, with stooping head, was cutting out something or other with a pair of scissors she held in her hand. Baoyu advanced further in. "Oh, what's this that you are up to?" he smiled. "You have just had your rice, and do you bob your head down in this way? Why, in a short while you will be having a headache again." Daiyu, however, did not heed him in the least, but busied herself cutting out what she had to do. "The corner of that piece of satin is not yet right," a servant girl put in. "You had better iron it again." Daiyu threw down the scissors. "Why worry yourself about it?" she said. "It will get quite right after a time." But while Baoyu was listening to what was being said, and was inwardly feeling in low spirits, he became aware that Baochai, Tan Chun, and the other girls had also arrived. After a short chat with Dowager Lady Jia, Baochai likewise entered the apartment to find out what her cousin Lin was up to. The moment she espied Lin Daiyu engaged in cutting out something, "You have," she cried, "attained more skill than ever, for there you can even cut out clothes." This too, laughed Daiyu sarcastically, "is a mere falsehood, to hoodwink people with, nothing more." "I'll tell you a joke," replied Baochai, smiling. "When I just now said that I did not know anything about that medicine." Cousin Baoyu felt displeased. "Who cares?" shouted Lin Daiyu. "You'll get all right shortly." "Our worthy grandmother wishes to play at dominoes," Baoyu thereupon interposed, directing his remarks to Baochai. "And there's no one there at present to have a game with her, so you'd better go and play with her." "Have I come over now to play dominoes?" promptly smiled Baochai, when she heard his suggestion. With this remark, she nevertheless at once quitted the room. "It would be well for you to go," urged Lin Daiyu, for there's a tiger in here, and look out, he might eat you up." As she spoke, she went on with her cutting. Baoyu perceived how both she was to give him any of her attention, and he had no alternative but to force a smile and to observe. "We should also go for a stroll. It will be time enough by and by to continue your cutting." But Baoyu would pay no heed whatever to him. Baoyu addressed himself therefore to the servant girls. "Who has taught her how to cut out these things?" he asked. "What does it matter who taught me how to cut?" Daiyu vehemently exclaimed, when she realized that he was speaking to the maids. "It's no business of yours, Mr. Secundus." Baoyu was then about to say something in his defense when he saw a servant come in and report that there was someone outside who wished to see him. At this announcement, Baoyu betook himself with alacrity out of the room. "Amitabha," observed Daiyu, turning outwards. "It wouldn't matter to you if you found me dead on your return." On his arrival outside, Baoyu discovered Bei Ming. "You are invited," he said, "to go to Mr. Feng's house." Upon hearing this message, Baoyu knew well enough that it was about the project mooted the previous day, and accordingly he told him to go and ask for his clothes, while he himself wended his steps into the library. Bei Ming came forthwith to the second gate and waited for someone to appear. Seeing an old woman walked out, Bei Ming went up to her. "Our master Secundus, Mr. Bao," he told her, "is in the study waiting for his outdoor clothes. So do go in, worthy dame, and deliver the message." "It would be better," replied the old woman, "if you did not echo your mother's absurdities. Our master Secundus, Mr. Bao, now lives in the garden, and all the servants who attend on him stay in the garden. And do you again come and bring the message here?" At these words, Bei Ming smiled. "You're quite right," he rejoined, "in reproving me, for I've become quite idiotic." So saying, he repaired with quick step to the second gate on the east side, where, by a lucky hit, the young servant boys on duty were kicking marbles on the raised row. Bei Ming explained to them the object of his coming. A young boy thereupon ran in. After a long interval, he at length made his appearance, holding and folded in his arms a bundle of clothes, which he handed to Bei Ming, who then returned to the library. Baoyu effected a change in his costume, and giving directions to saddle his horse, he only took along with him the 4 servant boys, Bei Ming, Chu Yao, Xiang Rui, and Shou, and started on his way. He reached Feng Zhiying's doorway by a short cut. A servant announced his arrival, and Feng Zhiying came out and ushered him in. Here he discovered Xue Peng, who had already been waiting a long time, and several singing boys besides, as well as Jiang Yuhan, who played female roles, and Yue, a courtesan in the Jingxiang court. The whole company exchanged salutations. They next had tea. "What you said the other day," smiled Baoyu, raising his cup, "about good fortune coming out of evil fortune, has preyed so much upon my mind, both by day and night, that the moment I received your summons, I hurried to come immediately." "My worthy cousins," rejoined Feng Ziying, smiling, "you are all far too credulous. It's a mere hoax that I made use of the other day. For so much did I fear that you would be sure to refuse if I openly asked you to a drinking bout, that I thought it fit to say what I did. But your attendance today, so soon after my invitation, makes it clear, little though one would have thought it, that you have all taken it as pure gospel truth." This admission evoked laughter from the whole company. The wines were afterwards placed on the table, and they took the seats consistent with their grades. Feng Ziying first and foremost called the singing boys and offered them a drink. Next, he told Yue to also approach and have a cup of wine. By the time, however, that Xuepen had had his third cup, he of a sudden lost control over his feelings, and clasping Yue's hand in his, "Do sing me," he smiled, "that novel ballad of your own composition, and I'll drink a whole jar full. Will you?" This appeal compelled Yue to take up the guitar. She then sang, "Lovers have I too. To set aside either I cannot bear. When my heart longs for thee to come, it also yearns for him. Both are in form handsome and fair. The beauty to describe it would be hard. Just think, last night, when at a silent hour we met in secret, by the trellis, frame laden with roses white. One to his feelings stealthily was giving vent, when lo, the other caught us in the act, and laying hands on us, there we three stood like litigants before the bar, and I had, verily, no word in answer for myself to give." At the close of her song, she laughed. "Well now," she cried, "down with that whole jar." "Why, it isn't worth a jarful," smiled Xuepen at these words. "Favor us with some other good sound." "Listen to what I have to suggest," Baoyu interposed, a smile on his lips. "If you go on drinking in this reckless manner, we will easily get drunk and there will be no fun in it. I will take the lead and swallow a large cupful and put in force a new penalty, and any one of you who doesn't comply with it will be mulcted in 10 large cupfuls in quick succession." Speedily rising from the banquet, he poured the wine for the company. Feng Ziying and the rest meanwhile exclaimed with one voice, "Quite right, quite right." Baoyu then lifted a large cup and drank it with one draught. "We will now," he proposed, "dilate on the 4 characters: sad, wounded, glad, and joyful. But while discoursing about young ladies, we'll have to illustrate the 4 states as well. At the end of this recitation, we'll have to drink the door cup over the wine, to sing an original and seasonable ballad, while over the hill taps, to make allusion to some object on the table, and devise something with some old poetic lines or ancient scrolls from the 4 books or the 5 classics, or with some set phrases." Xuepen gave him no time to finish. He was the first to stand up and prevent him from proceeding. "I won't join you, so don't count me. This is, in fact, done in order to play tricks upon me." Yue, however, also rose to her feet and shoved him down into his seat. "What are you in such a funk for?" she laughed. "You are fortunate enough to be able to drink wine daily, and can't you, forsooth, even come up to me? Yet I mean to recite, by and by, my own share, if you say what's right. Well and good. If you don't, you'll simply have to swallow several cups of wine as a forfeit. And is it likely you'll die from drunkenness? Are you, pray, going now to disregard this rule and to drink, instead, 10 large cups, besides going down to pour the wine?" One and all clapped in applause. "Well said," they shouted. After this, Xuepen had no way out of it and felt compelled to resume his seat. End of section 7.